Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You know what time it is? It is 8 a.m. on a weekday. It is time for English Grade 8 Home Language. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. You are all welcome. Let us quickly take the register. If you are there with us today, say hi in the chat. Let us see who is with us today. Simply say hi in the chat so we can see who is with us in our lesson today. So good. It is so good to see everyone here. It is so good to see everyone here. So good to see everyone here. So without a waste of time, let me welcome everyone. You are all welcome to the lesson today. And yes, without a waste of time, let's continue. So like I have said, we will be doing adverbs in this lesson. Yes, so here are the adverbs we will be looking into today. The adverbs of time, adverbs of manner, adverbs of place, as well as the adverbs of frequency. So as you can see, there is a lot to cover in this lesson. There will be a lot to cover in this lesson. So without a waste of time, let's get on with it. So in this lesson, we will do an overview of adverbs, the types of adverbs, and then we will zone in on the adverbs of time and manner, as well as the adverbs of place and frequency. Remember, if you have a question on anything, if you need clarification, please do not hesitate to ask. Do not hesitate to type your question in the chat, or you can simply raise your hand up and we'll give you a chance to speak so you can ask your question. Okay, sometimes we need to know more about what happened, and adverbs help us with that. Okay, so yes, we know that something happened, but sometimes we need to know more about it. Okay, if you told me that you woke up, okay, that is something, but sometimes I may need to know more that where did you wake up? You know, when did you wake up? How did you wake up? Why did you wake up? You know, all those things. So adverbs, they help us with that to know more about what happened. And then, yes, adverbs, they tell us more about a verb. Yes, and please, at the end of the lesson, I will give you an update. I will give you the, yes, I will give you an update. I will tell you the announcement about the assessment week, about the test. Okay, yes, so I will do that at the end of the lesson. Let's continue with the lesson. Okay, our favorite quote so far: knowledge is power. I wish we could know who said it, but we still don't know who said it, but we do know that it is true. but we still know that it is true. Then coming to adverbs. Adverbs are words that describe how an action was performed. Okay, so that is a basic definition to say of an adverb, that adverbs are words that describe how an action was performed. Okay, so for me, I used to memorize it like this. I always say adverbs. Okay, I always say add means additional, and verbs means a verb. So then it means that adverbs has to do with additional verbs. So for me, that meant that an adverb, it tells us additional information about the verb. Are we all together? So yes, here is my example there. You speak nicely. Okay, you speak nicely. That is our example. You speak nicely is our example. So you realize that this nicely, it tells us more about how you speak. Okay, I can say you speak, it's okay. But then if I add nicely, tells us more how you speak. Then as you continue, adverbs are words or phrases that give us more information about verbs. Okay, so yes, that's what an adverb does. Okay, so that's what adverbs does. And then again, sometimes adverbs can give us more information about adjectives and other adverbs. Okay, so sometimes an adverb can give us more information about adjectives and other adverbs. Okay, right. Remember, if you have any question, please type it in the chat or raise your hand so we can help you. Then here are the 6 types of adverbs that which we know that which they are. 6 types of adverbs. Number 1, we have adverbs of place. 2, adverbs of frequency. 3, adverbs of manner. 4, adverbs of degree. 5, adverbs of time. And 6, adverbs of reason. Okay, so and adverbs of place, they answer the question where. The adverbs of frequency, they answer the question how often. The adverbs of manner answer the question how or in what manner. The adverbs of degree ask to what degree or to what extent. The adverbs of time, they ask when or how long. The adverbs of reason, they ask why. Okay. Okay, so these are the definition of the different types of adverbs. Is there anyone who would like to read them for us? Is there anyone who would like to read this for us? Please raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to read. Oh, we have Helen.
Hello, sir.
Yes, how are you?
Fine, and you, sir?
I'm fine. Yes, can you please, thank you for raising your hand up. Can you read
Okay.
these for us?
Okay. Number one, adverbs of place describe where something happens or is done. Number two, adverbs of frequency describe how often something is done. Number three, adverbs of manner describe how something is done.
Okay, you can continue with the rest.
Number four, adverbs of degree describe to what extent of something is done. Adverb of time describe when something is done. Adverbs of reason describe why something is done.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you for reading for us. Thank you for reading the different types of adverbs for us. So now we can look at them individually. So we start with the adverb of time. So the adverbs of time, they tell us three things. One, they tell us when an action happened. Okay, so this talks about the time. Okay, this talks about the time, whether it was in the afternoon, in the morning, 8 a.m., 8 p.m., and all those things. Two, the adverbs of time, they tell us how long something has happened. Okay, maybe it happened 30 minutes. Okay, I played that up, I listened to that album for 1 hour. I slept for 8 hours last night, those kind of things. And then number three, adverbs of time, they also tell us how often it happened. Okay, this almost sounds like the adverbs of frequency, but it is also an adverb of time which tells us how often something happens. Okay, for example, you can say I wake up at 5 a.m. daily. Okay, so that daily becomes our adverb of time because it tells us. Okay, so that is adverb of time. So examples of adverbs of time. Can you text us an example of adverbs of time? Okay, let us go through my examples. Everyone stayed home yesterday. So you realize that without this yesterday, we will never know when everyone stayed home. Okay, but if you say everyone stayed home yesterday, now we know when everyone stayed home. Okay, then another example we have, they are going back home. So if I tell you they are going back home, chances are that you will ask me when. So therefore I can say they are going back home today. So you realize that this today, it answers the when question. So without this today, which is the adverb of time, you will never know when they are going back home. And then let's continue. It is time to watch the news now. So that now is the adverb of time which tells us about when, telling us about when it is time to watch the news. I brush my teeth twice daily. Yes, there it is. So that daily becomes an adverb of time which tells us about when or how often I brush my teeth twice. Are we all together? Thank you. So here I know there could be, so yes, daily can also be an adverb of frequency, as we will see a bit later in the lesson. Any question on the adverbs of time? Is there any question on the adverbs of time? Okay, let's continue. Right, adverbs of manner. Adverbs of manner, they tell us how something has happened. Okay. For example, the child was shouting. Now, do we know how the child was shouting? No. How would we know if we add an adverb of manner? So in this case, our adverb of manner becomes loudly. Then this sentence will read as, the child was shouting loudly. Okay, so this loudly here, it tells us how the child was shouting. Okay, let's continue. She put the vase back carefully. So the word carefully here, it tells us about how she put the vase back. Okay, so that is the manner at which she put the vase back. She put it carefully. And then the next one we have, he studied for the test diligently. So diligently becomes, it tells us how he studied for the test. Okay, and yes, diligently tells us how he studied for the test. See, so that is the adverb of manner. Any question on the adverbs of manner? Is there any question on the adverbs of manner? What you need to know is that with the adverbs of manner, they tell us how something happened. They tell us about the manner in which something happened. Okay, you know that proverb where they say that there are 9 ways to kill a cat. So it is something like that. We, with the adverbs of manner, we really want to know about which way you have used to do something, because many things you can do them in many different ways. Therefore, by asking how, by using the adverbs of manner to tell us how, then you really are informing us how something has happened. Are we all together? Okay, let's continue to the adverbs of place. So with the adverbs of place, like I have said when I began the lesson, that the adverbs of place, they answer the question where. Okay, so they are really concerned with the location or the place or where something happened or something will happen or something has been happening or where something happens. Okay, all right. An adverb of place, it describes where something is done. Okay, an adverb of place, it describes where something is done. Again, another way of putting it, we can put it this way. We can say an adverb of place describes where an action happens. Okay, so where an action happens, we know that because of the adverb of place. Remember, a verb only tells us what happens. A verb only tells us what is happening. Okay, but with an adverbs of place, that is where we know where something happens. Okay, right now I can say right now I can say thank you for joining us for this lesson. Okay, so you realize that from what I've said, I didn't say anything about where you are joining us for this lesson. Okay, but if I can say thank you for joining us for this lesson from the comfort of your own home, now I have said the adverb of place, which will be home. Okay, so your home becomes the adverb of place because it tells us about where you are joining us from. It tells us about where you are joining us from. Yes, it tells us about where the action of you joining us is happening, which is at your home. Yes. An adverb of place, it serves to answer the question where. Okay, remember I did see that the adverbs of place, they answer the question where. Because some things, they do not make enough sense. They do not really are not, some things are not meaningful unless you know where they happen. Adverbs of place, they are usually placed after the main verb in a sentence or after the object. Okay, so yeah, that is one thing about them. So let us go through our examples. I looked for the keys. I looked for the keys. Okay, chances are if I say to you, I looked for the keys, you will ask me where. Okay, then what will be the answer? The answer will be everywhere. So if I say to you, I looked for the keys everywhere, I've already answered your whole question. You will not ask me where I was looking for the keys. You will know that I was looking for the keys everywhere because I said I looked for the keys everywhere, and this everywhere will serve to answer the question. And then we come back again. I saw her look away. Mhm. I saw her look away. So when I say that, you will not ask me where, because by saying I saw her look away, that away there, it tells you where I saw her look. Okay, so it is a complete sentence, and it answers your question even before you get the chance to ask it. The next one, the children were playing nearby. Okay, the children were playing nearby. The children were playing nearby. So this nearby there, the children are playing nearby. So this nearby there, it tells us about where the children were playing. Okay, it is not enough for me to say the children were playing. Chances are you'll want to know where they are playing so that you can know whether they are safe or not. Okay, so if I say the children were playing nearby, then you as a parent, or you as the brother or as the sister of these children, or you as the uncle or the aunt of these children, you will feel safe. You will be comforted knowing that the children are playing nearby. So this nearby here becomes our adverb of place. They took all the furniture outside. Okay, so this outside becomes our adverb of place because it tells us where all this furniture was took. It tells us about where all this furniture was taken. Remember, if you have any question, please write it in the chat so that we can help you clarify your misconceptions or your misunderstandings, or if there is something that which you do not understand. Examples of adverbs of place, here are many of them. We have everywhere, up, down, around, away, back, out, home, in, on. Okay, so these are the adverbs of place. And when I look at home, I remember that you can also say school. School is also an adverb of place. The mall, the shopping center, the park. Okay, so the name of a place, or a place, yes, a place in general, it is an adverb of place. Okay, remember when I say home, I'm talking about home. I'm talking about a place, same as school, mall, shopping center, cemetery, the park, the corner of the street, yes, church, museum. Okay, there's still more examples you have here, there, about, across, along, by, behind, down, over, round, through, under, and up. Okay, I realized that with by, some people can have misunderstanding about it. With by, I can make this example. I can say, I left your keys by the kitchen counter. Okay, so you realize that this by it tells us about where I have left the keys. Okay, so by here will become our adverb of place. Okay, then we have other. And then when we go back, let's go back to that slide. Okay, here is Nkanka in the chat saying that some of them are prepositions. Yes, Nkanka, you are right. Some of them are prepositions. Some of all these examples of adverbs of place are also prepositions. Thank you so much, Nkanka. I know that you can be able to show us some of them, like up, for example. Down is also a preposition. Around is also a preposition. In, on, yes. So when we'll go through prepositions, then you will see some of them again. So thank you so much, Nkanka. Thank you so much. I appreciate your comment on that. I appreciate your comment. Thank you so much. It's so good to see that you are listening, you are concentrating, you are part of the lesson. So let's continue. Other adverbs of place, they end with the suffix word, words, and they describe the movement in a particular direction. Okay, so other adverbs of place, they have to do with the direction. Remember, a direction is not a place. Remember that a place is localized. A place is localized, okay? A place is localized. It is on one region. It is at one point in time. Therefore, meaning that a place is localized, okay? So a place is localized, but with the adverbs of place, they also describe a movement in a particular direction. So here are some examples here. We have backwards, forwards, downwards, upwards, inwards, outwards, northwards, southwards, eastwards, westwards, homewards, and onwards. Okay, yes. So you realize that all these adverbs of place, they describe the movement in a particular direction. There is no place called backwards. No, backwards is not a place. Backwards is not a location, but instead, backwards, it is a direction. Yes. For example, the red car was moving backwards. Okay, so you realize that this car was moving in this direction. Backwards, remember, backwards is not a place, it is not a location, but instead, it is a particular direction. Therefore, from here we say the red car was moving backwards. So this was, it tells us about the direction. So was, you can think of was as a particular direction, but what direction? The back direction. Therefore, it means that the car was moving in the back direction, or in the direction which is going to the back. Okay, let us see. In the chat, I have a question from Homolimo. Homolimo is asking, why do they all end with words? Like I have said, Homolimo, that the words here, it is our suffix, and words here as our suffix, it means direction. Okay, so this words means direction. So if you go to all these examples here, backwards, it means, if remember, words is a suffix which means direction. Therefore, then backwards, it will mean in the direction which goes back. Forwards will mean in the direction which goes for. Okay, so in the old English, for it was for, FORE, it will mean in front of you. Okay, so in this case for forwards, then it means that the direction is in the front. The direction is in the front. It is towards the direction which is in the front. Then we have downwards, which means in the direction towards down. Upwards in the direction which is up. Inwards in the direction which is going in. Outwards will mean in the direction which is going out. Northwards will mean in the direction which is going north. Southwards will mean in the direction which goes south. Eastwards will mean in the direction which is going east. Westwards then will mean in the direction which is going to the west. Homewards will be in the direction which is going home. onwards will be to say in the direction which is going on and on and on, yes. So that is why they all end with was homolemo. Yes. Thank you for such a beautiful question. Another example, he threw the rock off the mountain and it rolled downwards. So this was here, it tells us about the direction at which the rock was rolling. So the rock was rolling in the direction which is down. In the direction which is down. Okay. Then the last adverb for the lesson, which is the adverb of frequency. So the adverbs of frequency, this is an adverb which describes how often something is done. An adverb of frequency, it serves to answer the question, how often or how frequently. So that is the question that an adverb of frequency answers. All right, okay, so that is the adverb of frequency. It serves to answer the question, how often or how frequently. Are we all together on that? All right, now let us go deeper with it. So with the adverbs of frequency, we have two types of them. One type is the definite frequency. The other one is the indefinite frequency. Let me show you the difference. With definite frequency, these adverbs frequency, if they are definite frequency, they tell us exactly how often something happens. Okay, so if they tell us exactly how often something happens, you can be able to use your maths to calculate how often this something will be happening in a specified period of time. For example, once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. So you realize that they tell us exactly how often something happens. Okay, right now I can ask you, how often do you go to the grocery store? And you say 3 times a week. If you say 3 times a week, then I know that, okay, in a week you go to the grocery store 3 times. Then from that, I can be able to calculate how many times or how often you go to the grocery store in a month. Okay, so if we assume that, okay, this is the month of July, I've seen that July has about 5 weeks. So if we say that July has 5 weeks, then I can be able to calculate how many times in July you'll go to the shop. How will I do that? I will say, since you go to the shop 3 times a week in July, and July has 5 weeks, then I will say 3 times 5, which is 15. So then I'm expecting you to go to the shop 15 times in this month of July. Okay, so you can see that with these adverbs, you know exactly how often. Okay, and that frequency, you can write it as a number because you know exactly how often. Then other examples, we have every second, every minute, and twice a year. Okay, yes. So if you tell me that you blink every minute, then I know that in an hour, I know how you blink. I know how many times you blink. So I know that since an hour has 60 minutes and you blink every minute, then I know that in an hour, you will have blinked 60 times. You see, I know exactly how often because of these adverbs of frequency, which they tell us exactly how often something happens. Then we have hourly, which means every hour, daily, which means every day, weekly, which means every week, monthly, which means every month, and yearly, which means every year. Okay, so you realize that these adverbs of frequency, they are usually written at the beginning or at the end of a sentence. Okay, yes, you can say I go to the you can say I go to the dentist twice a year. You realize that twice a year is at the end of a sentence. Or you can say yearly I go to the you can say yearly I go to the beach. Okay, so we know that, okay, every year, once a year, you go to the beach. You see? Yes. So you realize that the adverbs of frequency, they tell us exactly how often something happens. Then again, we have another types of adverbs of frequency, which is indefinite frequency. So these adverbs of frequency, they give us an idea about the frequency, or they give us an idea about how often something happens, but they don't tell us exactly how often it happens. Okay, they just give us an idea, but they do not tell us exactly. There are also adverbs of frequency, by the way. Okay, so because of these ones, how difficult it is to know how, because they don't tell us exactly, they just approximate. So this is how we can, this is something we can use to describe those. All right, okay, so let us start from the bottom. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Okay, so let us start from the bottom. So if we start from the bottom, which is 0%, so there we have never. Okay, so if I say to you, I will never give you money, then you know that the chances of me giving you money is 0%. Okay, so it's never. So that means that there will not be any event which will change that. Okay, it's a never. It will never happen no matter what. Okay, it will never happen no matter what. Even if the moon and the sun can both be seen at the same time right now, still never. There's nothing which can happen which can change what I've said. So it is a never. Okay, so never means 0%. It means that that thing never happens. The chances of that thing happening is 0%. The frequency of that thing happening is 0%. How often that happens is 0%. Then somewhere, and then when we go to 50%, we have sometimes. Okay, so sometimes it's a 50-50 thing. Okay, you can say that sometimes on Wednesdays I order burgers. Okay, so it is a 50-50 thing. So it means that today's Wednesday, chances are that I may order the burgers or I may not order the burgers. So it's sometimes thing. And so sometimes it's really a 50% chance. Okay, then somewhere between 0 and 50%, we have hardly ever. So this is something which happens, but it may not even happen. We have seldom. I think this is about 20%. It happens, but not as much. Then you have rarely or infrequently. This is something which happens, but you can never tell. You can never predict how often it may happen. Then you have occasionally. Occasionally, this is something which happens. This is something which happens. This is something which happens. Okay, so occasionally means it's something which happens. Okay, it happens. We don't know how often, but it does happen, and you can bet on it. It will happen. Given a time period. Okay, you can say, I occasionally eat pizza. So that shows that, okay, it may not happen all the time, but occasionally, from time to time, I would want to have pizza. Something like that. You see, and then as we continue, and then okay, sometime between 50% and 100%, we have this. We have often. Often is something which happens more than 50% of the time. So it happens often. So you can really bet on it that, yeah, this is going to happen. I watch TV often, so then you know that, okay, you can really bet that before I go to sleep tonight, I would have watched TV. Frequently or regularly, there's something which happens. It happens regularly, it happens frequently. Okay, it happens frequently, it happens regularly. And then usually or normally, that's something which almost always happens, but not quite. But it is usual, it is normal. Okay, usually I eat. Okay, you can say usually I eat supper at 7 p.m. Okay, so this shows that this is something which normally happens. Okay, there may be sometimes I may eat late around 8, maybe because we came back late, or maybe because it took time to finish cooking and all that. So yes, but then with the adverb of frequency, such as usually and normally, It tells us about something which happens almost all the time, but not quite all the time. Okay. Then 100%, this is something which happens always, or it happens constantly. Okay, so with 100%, for 100%, we have always, you also have constantly. So this is something which happens all the time. This is something which happens all the time, or it happens every time during a specified time period. For example, you can say, I always do I always do my lessons for English grade 8 at 8 a.m. Monday to Friday. I mean, we know that is true. That we know that every day when it's 8 a.m., when you log into our link for our class, you will find me, you will find us you'll find us you will find us in a lesson for English grade 8 home language. Okay, so it is an always thing every weekday from Monday to Friday. Okay, so it means that you can bet on it that even tomorrow at 8 a.m. there will be a lesson, because it is an always thing. It is something which happens constantly. Okay, and another thing is that you can also bet that your favorite soapy, always constantly you will find it being broadcast on TV at 6:30 p.m. Okay, always, constantly, Monday to Friday, you know that your favorite soapy is there. Okay, yes. So those were the adverbs of frequency. So you realize that these ones, they tell us how often something happens, but they do not tell us exactly. So sometimes it becomes difficult for you to calculate. Okay, if I say to you that sometimes I eat pizza 3 times a month or 2 times a month, then you will never know. You will never know. You'll not be able to calculate. Okay, yes. So yeah, that is how it happens. Yes, and I really think that this is how we should be talking to strangers. Okay, if a stranger asks you, how often do you come here? You can say, sometimes. So like when you say sometimes, or you can say occasionally. So by saying that, you have really you you have really sounded indefinite. Okay, you've really sounded indefinite. If maybe it's that someone is a stalker, you've really made it difficult for them to stalk you because you didn't tell them how often you come there. So then they could not even guess, they could not even be able to calculate how often you come there so that they can be able to stalk you. So yes, so I think the adverbs of frequency where you do not say exactly how often, they may really help to keep you safe sometimes, especially when you talk to someone you do not trust or a stranger. Okay, yes. So anyway, this is the end of our lesson. Remember, we said that the assessment week will start on Monday the 20th. Oh yes, so the assessment week will be next week, and with us you will be writing on the 22nd. Yeah, the 22nd of July. I will confirm the date and tell you again tomorrow. But yes, if I remember well, the date is 22nd July, which will be on a Wednesday. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. There's no homework for you today. Woohoo! Anyway, let us meet again, same time, same place. All right, so remember, if you have any questions, you can email me. That's my email in red, jackie.muyeng@gmail.com, or you can email STEM Digital School at africateengeeks.co.za. Remember, let us meet again tomorrow, same time, same place. Remember to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, wear your mask if you go outside, and remember social distancing. So from all of us here at STEM Digital School, we love you. Goodbye. Take care. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Keep well. Bye.